Mercury's Avatar hybrid just destroyed 3 entire market segments overnight, and the dealer panic is something boat buyers have never seen before. Pure electric startups lost their only advantage. Kicker motor sales collapsed 12% in 30 days. Mid-range four-strokes cannot compete on efficiency anymore. But there is a catch that Mercury is not telling you. By the end of this video, you will know which engines just became obsolete, what hybrid ownership actually costs, and why small dealers are quietly closing. The silent takedown everyone missed. Mercury's Lake X facility in Florida ran continuous hybrid trials for 18 months. Engineers were not building another gas outboard. They were killing the electric versus gas debate entirely. The result is the first production outboard that switches power sources mid-cruise without requiring owner intervention. Battery depletes to 20%, gas generator kicks in automatically. No range anxiety, no planning, no manual switching. Return to harbor system, detects proximity, and switches back to electric for silent docking. This is not vaporware, this is shipping to dealers quarter 2025. 3 companies got blindsided and did not see it coming. Torqeedo built an entire brand identity on whisper-quiet electric operation. Mercury just stole that selling point while solving the range problem Torqeedo could not crack. Yamaha's F25 has been the go-to trolling motor for bass anglers for years. It now faces a hybrid that trolls just as quietly, but runs home at full speed without switching engines. E-Propulsion, the electric startup banking on early adopter premium buyers, just watched Mercury's 4,000 dealer network swallow their entire target market. The difference between this launch and every other promised revolution is infrastructure and trust. When Flux Marine promises a revolutionary product, you wait 2 years and hope the company is still around when it ships. When Mercury ships a product, it is on dealer floors in 60 days, and backed by Brunswick Corporation's manufacturing scale. That is not just marketing, that is the difference between a prototype and a product you can actually buy and service. Internal Mercury projections suggest hybrid could represent 30% of sub-100 horsepower sales by 2027. That means, roughly 25,000 hybrid outboards per year replacing traditional gas engines. Each one costs dealers approximately $1,800 in lost service revenue over 5 years. Do the math across the entire market and you are looking at $45 million annually evaporating from dealer service bays. The question everyone should be asking is how Mercury engineered something every other company failed to deliver. How Mercury broke the hybrid code. Every other marine hybrid failed because designers treated boats like cars. Car hybrids work because drivers use them daily and charge nightly. Boat hybrids failed because recreational boaters use them sporadically. The battery dies between trips. You show up to the dock excited for a day on the water and discover you forgot to plug in last weekend. Traditional outboards waste fuel because engine RPM varies constantly with throttle position and load conditions. Mercury's gas generator runs at 3,200 RPM constantly when active. That is the sweet spot for maximum efficiency. Over 8 hours of mixed use. Hybrid burns 2.8 gallons versus 4.5 gallons for a traditional 25 horsepower four-stroke doing the same work. Mercury chose lithium iron phosphate instead of lithium ion. The trade-off is slightly heavier weight. The payoff is longevity and safety. Lithium iron phosphate batteries last 3,000 plus charge cycles versus 1,000 for lithium ion. They tolerate heat better. They do not catch fire. In real-world recreational use, the battery should outlast the outboard itself. Regenerative charging is the feature nobody talks about, but, owners notice it immediately. When you're running on gas power, the system actually recaptures energy during deceleration. So, let's say you throttle down for a no-wake zone. Well, the system converts that momentum into electrical charge while it's slowing the boat. Early owners are already reporting that they're getting like 15 to 20% more electric range per day from regenerative charging alone. While Mercury was perfecting this technology, 3 entire market segments were about to disappear. If this changes how you think about outboards, hit subscribe so you don't miss what's next. The kicker motor market just imploded. Bass boats and walleye fishing rigs have run dual-motor setups for decades, a big gas engine for running between spots, and a small kicker motor for silent trolling. But now, Mercury's hybrid replaces both with a single unit. Yamaha's F9.9 high thrust, Mercury's own 15-horsepower 4-stroke, Honda's BF20, all suddenly redundant. Clean, low-hour kicker motors dropped 12% in average selling price within 30 days of the Avatar announcement. Sellers are confused. Buyers know something fundamental changed. Pure electric startups are dying faster than anyone expected. Flux Marine raised $8 million promising an electric future. Vision Marine bet the entire company on 180 horsepower electric outboards, but Mercury just delivered every benefit of electric without the crippling weakness of range anxiety. 2 electric outboard startups are reportedly seeking buyers after the Mercury launch. Startups just can't compete with a 4,000 dealer service network and a century of brand trust. So, mid-range 4-stroke dominance pretty much ended the day Mercury started shipping hybrids. Suzuki DF70, Honda BF90, and those older Yamaha F75 models, they all built their reputations on reliability and fuel efficiency, but honestly, Mercury's hybrid beats all of them on fuel economy by about 25 to 30% in real-world conditions. And get this, a Connecticut dealer reported 0 test ride requests for Honda BF90 models since the hybrid showed up on their floor. Buyers are doing the math and, well, they're just walking away from gas-only engines. Now traditional outboards need 5 oil changes over 500 hours. Hybrids, they just need 2 battery health checks and 1 software update. An oil change brings in $85 in gross profit for the dealer, while a battery health check only brings in $35. So, a shop performing 200 services a year loses about $10,000 in gross profit for every hybrid sold in their market. And when hybrids reach 20% market penetration, the average dealer stands to lose $40,000 in annual service revenue. Those are projected losses, but, the actual numbers tell a different story. The ownership math Mercury is not advertising. Okay, let's run the numbers for a realistic scenario that, honestly, most dealers will never show you on their calculators. So, picture this, you're a weekend lake boater, putting in about 50 hours per season. You spend some time cruising to your favorite spot, then trolling once you get there. This is, typical recreational use across most of North America. Now, a traditional 25 horsepower 4-stroke averages about 1.8 gallons per hour across that mixed-use pattern. That adds up to 90 gallons per season at $5 per gallon, which honestly is a pretty conservative estimate in a lot of coastal markets, so you're spending $450 every year just on fuel. Now, let's look at the Mercury Avatar Hybrid. If you're running mostly on electric, with the gas range extender kicking in for those longer runs, you average 0.7 gallons per hour, so that's 35 gallons per season, or $175 in fuel. That means you're saving $275 every single season. And over 5 years of ownership, that's $1,375 that stays in your pocket instead of, burning away in the combustion chamber. The electricity bill is definitely real, but honestly, it's pretty negligible compared to gas costs. Charging a 5.3 kilowatt-hour battery from completely empty to full costs just 64 cents at typical residential rates of 12 cents per kilowatt-hour. The average recreational boater charges up about 40 times per season, so your annual electricity cost comes to $25.60. Even after you factor in the electricity, you're still saving about $250 per year compared to running pure gas. Maintenance costs shift dramatically. Traditional outboard maintenance includes an annual oil change at $120, spark plugs every 200 hours at $45, and fuel system cleaning at $80 to prevent ethanol damage and varnish buildup. Hybrid maintenance is battery health diagnostic at $60, software updates at zero cost because dealers perform them during routine service visits, and coolant check at $40 if the system uses liquid cooling. The annual comparison runs $245 for traditional versus $100 for hybrid. Over 5 years of ownership, you save $725 in maintenance costs alone. The battery replacement question is the elephant in the room that Mercury refuses to address directly. The company will not publish official battery replacement cost yet. Industry estimates based on similar marine lithium systems range from $2,800 to $3,500 for a complete pack replacement. Expected lifespan is 3,000 charge cycles, which translates to roughly 10 to 12 years of recreational use or 5 to 7 years of heavy commercial use. The gamble is straightforward. If the battery lasts more than 8 years, you win on total cost of ownership, but if it catastrophically fails at year 6, you erase every dollar of fuel and maintenance savings with one massive repair bill. Mercury offers 3 years of battery warranty versus 2 years on traditional engines, which provides some protection but leaves a significant gap. Hybrid costs $18,500 versus $11,500 for a comparable traditional 25 horsepower outboard. That's a $7,000 premium you pay up front before you ever turn the key. 5-year savings from fuel is $1,375 plus maintenance savings of $725 minus electricity costs of $128 equals $1,972 in total savings. So, the payback period at typical recreational use is roughly 18 years. The economics only work in your favor if you boat significantly more than average, like over 100 hours per year instead of 50, or if fuel prices spike dramatically above $7 per gallon and stay there. While buyers are running these calculations on their phones, in dealer parking lots, dealers are calculating something far worse for their businesses. The training crisis is hitting dealer service departments right now, and most boat owners have no idea it is happening. Gas engine mechanic certification costs $1,200 per technician and requires a 2-day course covering carburation, ignition systems, and 4-stroke architecture. High-voltage hybrid system certification costs $6,500 per technician, requires a full 5-day course, and triggers mandatory higher insurance liability premiums for the dealership. A small independent dealer with 3 technicians on staff faces $19,500 in training investment before they can legally service a single hybrid outboard. Insurance companies are not taking this lightly. Liability premiums are rising 15 to 20% across the board for any marine service facility that handles lithium battery systems above 48 volts. The insurance actuaries have done the math on thermal runaway fires and high-voltage electrocution risk. Dealers are paying for that risk assessment whether they want to or not. That is just the beginning of the cost cascade that keeps accelerating. Parts inventory becomes a financial trap with no good exit. The typical independent marine dealer has $75,000 worth of gas engine parts sitting on shelves right now. Spark plugs, ignition coils, fuel pumps, carburetors, gaskets,